Good morning, good people. So this is a video that is very much delayed. I am going to be working on an art piece for my bedroom, and so it's going to be a little bit of like what's it called, canvas with spackle. What's it called, I'm pretty sure you've seen some of these like designs and DIY projects on YouTube before, but I wanted to attempt something much larger for my bedroom. I already have all the tools, and so I'm going to walk you through that. Hopefully it comes, sorry, I'm like being distracted by something here. Hopefully it comes out the way I had imagined it. I'm a little still iffy on how it's gonna go. And so yeah, I'm gonna kind of show you what all I have, and then we can get started. So the artwork in question is going to be here, right? I've already had everything marked up as to where it should be on the wall. And so once I'm done with it, this is where it's gonna be. And I can't wait, like I genuinely cannot wait to see how it turns out. So I'm gonna take this thing off the wall, and then I'm gonna go show you what the other supplies I have is, and then we're gonna get started. So give me a moment. So as far as supplies, I have this spackle compound here. It's like a joint compound, about 12 pounds of it. This was like 20 bucks from Home Depot. I have this, what is it called? A paint scraper, but really it's for me to be able to get the joint compound onto the canvas. And then I have this it's a notched square. I don't really know what these are used for, but when I was doing my YouTube Googling and, snooping and all of that, this was recommended. I'm going to be using the largest notch though, since this is like a really large canvas to do this. And so to make the design. And then I have this right here, another paint scraper. Yeah, or a paint shield, right? That's what it's called. I picked this up from the dollar store. So actually, this was from the dollar store. This was from Home Depot. The joint compound is from Home Depot, and this was also from the dollar store. And this is to, excuse my nails, this is to evenly get the joint compound across the canvas so I could create the design, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I have put the canvas here to work on. I am so nervous. Like I don't wanna create a mess on my flooring. But basically I put it here because one, it's gonna take about 24 hours for this thing to cure once I'm done. Like 24 hours for me to be able to even move it around. And so I'm leaving it here closer to the window so it dries a little bit more, harder. There's no soft spots or whatever. And also it seems like it's either here or the middle of my apartment. And yeah, that's not particularly feasible. So I am gonna go ahead and get started, y'all. Let's see how this goes. you probably just saw me finishing up this beauty, okay? It took me about 2 hours, and honestly, it was because I put way too much of the joint compound on the canvas to start with. I wanted something thick, you know, ooh, ashy, thick, you know, a little bit durable or whatever. But to be honest, you need enough to just coat one layer, or else you're gonna be doing. I mean, you can see in the time lapse, like I took a lot of time to take what I already put on there. I put the entire how many pounds was it? 12 pounds of the junk compound on there, and I ended up having to take about a third off just to be able to like successfully do the design. And so yeah, I would say oh my god, I forgot to mention it. My canvas, I think you saw earlier, but it was a 40 inches by 60 inches, so fairly large, almost as tall as I am. And so if you're gonna use a canvas that size, I would suggest maybe half the size of joint compound of what I use. Honestly, would probably do you good. You would probably just be a little on the thinner side, but you wouldn't have to spend too much time like how do I say it, relifting the compound you already put on the canvas. So I spent a lot of time doing that. So that was one thing I would say. Another thing too was like, get real creative. I only thought I was going to be using this for the design. It turns out that there are just certain spots that I couldn't get to, or if I tried to use this alone, I was just stressing myself out and it was going to look crazy. So I found something in my apartment that was about the size of the notch I was using to create, you know, to basically pick up where the notch tool couldn't like really get to without ruining the design. So I generally suggest finding something that like you can use to fill in the spaces, because it helps a lot. This definitely came in handy. It's like rusted on this side. Wow, it's even more rusted than I started with. But this definitely came in handy to just taking the joint compound and getting it onto the canvas. So it was super helpful. This was definitely super helpful in smoothing out the canvas before getting started with the design. Like, you guys saw me doing it, so I don't think I have to say anything. But all I would say is get super creative. I was trying to be super strategic when I started, as you can tell. And then that wasn't working, so I was like, you know what, let's just get into it. Like, I know the vision, let me try and put it on the canvas, and it worked out. And, you know, shout out to my nails, because they actually were a big help in like making sure all the excess compound weren't getting in the trots of the design or whatever. Anywho, I like how organic the grooves look, to be honest. Like, some of the excess compound is creating these different grooves and dimension to the design that I really like. I'm super excited to see how it turns out. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna push it into the corner. Also, I managed to not get my floors too dirty, so just be mindful of that. If you want to lay down some newspaper before you get started, that will be very optimal. Didn't have any newspaper, so we just winged it. But I'm gonna wait for this thing to dry. I want to see how much it weighs, and then also how successful I will be getting it back up onto the wall in my bedroom. So I'll be back in about, honestly, I would say 24 hours. I'll be back in 48 hours, because I want to make sure this thing is dry. I am not touching it until it dries. It's too much work went into this. Anywho, see you in a bit.
The next day.
Here you can see me picking up the artwork. It is dry. It had been 2 days since I actually finished it, and here I am putting it back on the wall. Wanted to make sure it was perfectly aligned like I had planned it, and wanted to see how well it would complement the room. This thing came out so nice, so well. Also very sturdy, I would say. It did not seem like it would crumble, and till date it has not crumbled. So here you go. Here's a closer look and how well it looks against the wall and the decor. And here is one last look at the piece. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope this helped you. Please go out and create your own, and I would love to see it if you ever finished a piece.